Welcome to Shooting Womp Rats. I'm Daniel.
I'm done.
And we've actually dragged somebody into the studio with us today. Here with us is Tre Grisby. Yeah. Welcome, Tre.
He's got the bruises. He's got the bruises to prove it.
That's right.
We drug him in, beat him about the head and shoulders. He's black and blue.
Tre is the mind, I guess. We would even go so far to say genius behind L.U.G Con. Tre, would you like to tell everybody what L.U.G Con is?
Wow, you flatter me. Well, L.U.G Con is an acronym for Let Us Game, and it's an online RPG convention. Online being we try and do it publicly through Google Hangouts, get as many people together through this faulty electronic medium we call Google Profiles and Google Hangouts, and have a good time gaming with people that we haven't met before. So the idea is just to definitely play a new game, maybe publicize your game if you're up for it, because Google integrates with YouTube. So we always have a playlist of our convention so people can go back and check them out. And it's really about having a good time. If people aren't having a good time, then I did something wrong. So
online convention. I've tried it once. I don't know. Verdict's still out. I'm going to try a couple more, though.
I have run Star Wars D6 at both L.U.G Con so far. I got to admit, I like it. But then again, that's just a chance for me to show off the system.
Believe it or not, I actually think I ran one too, but I think mine was... which one was it? It was a throwaway one-shot adventure. It doesn't really matter.
I was going to say, one-shots are really good for like this convention format. I've done a little... I was going to say of both. The other is to just kind of bring your own campaign into it and maybe try and find a new player. So I've done like Shadowrun Living missions so that people could actually take that and run with it at a real-life convention, because Shadowrun has like this open play style where people can build up karma and take it wherever they go. And then I've done one-shots for my own Matrix RPG that I developed and just try and get new people into. And the one-shots I think are a lot better because you don't have all that explaining to do ahead of time, and you kind of can get that interest because it's new. But one of the biggest problems, I'll just bring up the problem right now, one of the biggest problems with online conventions is the stick rate. I don't even know what you call it, but cancellations. People don't give as much, I'm not thinking of the good word, but they don't care about their online presence as much as they do the real world presence. So if they make an appointment online, they're more likely to cancel than if they're in person. And so that's kind of been disappointing over the year. I started this in 2013, and so last year we'd have a lot of people just kind of cancel. And it would be the players. The GMs are awesome. It's usually the players that'll sign up. So I always tell people just sign up. If you have a spot for 5 people, sign up 10 people or 7 people. Like, don't be afraid to go over and let them know that they're going to be extras. But that's like one of the only big problems with the online convention. Otherwise, I've played some great systems and seen some great systems online that I never would have seen in person.
We mentioned that there have been at least 2 so far. When did L.U.G Con start?
Yeah, it was actually, there's 4 total. It started last March of 2013. And the goal was to have a quarterly con, and we did it. We started really small. There might have only been about 50 in that first convention in March. And then it built just, I want to say exponentially. It was crazy. By the second one, we had 100. By the third one, we had like 200 or 300 or something. And then by the fourth, it kind of mellowed out. It was only about 450 people signed up to the community, I should say. I'm not talking about actual participants, but the community itself grew. And that's where we pull our gamers from, is the G+ community, L.U.G Con. So yeah, 4 of them. Let's see, that was March, June, September, and December. And it's all grassroots. It's all free. And it's all like funded out of my pocket. So there's really no advertising. It's all just word of mouth, because just the hosting costs me more than I have to spend. We just tell people to tell other people and get them to the game. But yeah, it was awesome having you on there, because you're like our D6 pillar, or the Star Wars person that just makes it happen. And people loved your game too.
What has been the feedback from company publishers?
I spend so much time organizing the game that I don't get to talk to all the publishers. What we really try and focus on is indie publishers. So if you've produced your own game, you're usually the person that I'm talking to. So I'm talking to publishers of one, and they're all happy. One of my volunteers / person that does games at L.U.G Con is Gerardo. Tassistro. Really awesome guy. He's done Era, Modern Warfare, and now he put out a game called Saints and Sinners. And he really loves being able to do his demo games at L.U.G Con and being able to talk about his games. So the bigger publishers, they all say, well, we want to. It would be nice. Don't have time. You didn't contact me in time. You know, I'm learning things about organizing conventions. People need time. Fred Hicks has been surprisingly supportive, but he hasn't actually done anything. He just hasn't slammed us down. He's just been like, I will as soon as I get a chance. Oh, there was a personal thing happening that weekend. It just hasn't worked out, but I keep asking him every time, so I'm going to try again.
With Fred being one of the producers of the most, I guess, the hottest RPG IP out there with Fate, I wouldn't be surprised that he was too busy.
Amen, amen. And I'm a big Dresden Files fan. Like, I definitely own those 2 books. I want to play it more. I wish somebody would run Dresden at L.U.G Con, because I don't know the rules well enough to run it, so that's why I keep asking him.
Did we get the dates listed yet for this L.U.G Con?
Oh, yeah, I just put them out June 1st. So what we're looking at is September 1st through September 7th. Normally, L.U.G Con's a weekend, but since I only have time to really do it one time this year, maybe twice if we get lucky, I say, hey, let's go for a week. Online convention formats can do a week. Why not?
And how many games do you guys run or have people volunteer to run on an average con?
I'd say there's a dozen solid games that run on an average con, and then pickup games start to happen, and then we have a great guy, Jonathan Henry, who runs a Gamers Chat. So it's Giant Dragons Gamer Chat. Every day of L.U.G Con, he runs it about the same time, and people can get in there and just kind of talk about their excitement.
Excellent. And do you run any panels?
Yes. We always throw up some kind of panel, and the panels are on our playlist on YouTube, so just check out Let Us Game Convention on YouTube. Every convention that we've run, we've put up the panels, and they're fun. We're hoping to get a mapping panel on this next one, so we got to get some people, you know, of authority. That's going to be incredible, because I can't map, and I want to know some tricks.
Amen.
Yeah, someone with a little bit of authority come up there and go, you will do my maps, and that's how you do it.
Yeah.
You'll respect my badge. That's right, you'll respect my authority.
Amen.
Maybe you can grab Carl Buesler. He seems to be really hot with maps lately.
Ooh, I'm putting that down. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Carl, when you hear from me, that's what happened.
I know with certain other cons there have been giveaways, that sort of thing. Does L.U.G Con have the backing to do anything like that this year?
Luckily, every convention, we have somebody with a company that is willing to give us things to give away.
Nice.
So we've been lucky. It's not a lot of stuff, but we try and do it. So first convention, we gave away a drive-through RPG gift certificate. You know, nothing huge, to the best gamer and the best GM. And then Roll20 has been an incredible supporter. I mean, they are just awesome. Nolan T. Jones and those guys always give us something. Not that we expect it, but we definitely appreciate it. And their platform is one that I always tout. I think it's really great for people that don't know each other to play a virtual tabletop through Roll20. And they've been growing, so I mean, it's all plus. So we usually have a little something, but nothing huge. And if anybody wants us to pimp their wares, give us something, and we will pimp your wares. We're cool with that.
Yeah. See if Roll20 gives out a couple T-shirts this time. Yeah.
Ooh, there you go. I'm going to raise the bar.
There you go. I'm telling you right now, man. Raise the bar. Look about raising the bar, because the bar must be high.
It's got to be higher. Well, I did want to give some thanks real quick, if I could, just to a couple other people. Mm-hmm. Brian Kelsey is really awesome with helping us get things done. I mentioned Jonathan Henry with his Giant Dragons Gamers Chat has been awesome. Actually, Daniel is definitely awesome. And we have a couple people like Ryan Poe and Richard Rogers, who does a lot of podcasting, and Indie Plus. Indie Plus is the brainchild for it. I mean, they really gave me the idea to do this. When they changed their format, I was like, oh no, you can't go away. I got to do something. So that's why I picked this up and started running with it. So I'd like to thank those guys, Chris Tregenza and Mark Diaz-Truman and stuff. So I know there's more people I forgot, but everybody that's helped, thank you. Everybody that records, thank you. And let's do it again.
No worries. It's a podcast. We can always add an addendum at a later time.
That's right.
It's the
Nice.
magic. It's the magic of editing.
Thank you for coming on and talking L.U.G Con with us, Trey.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. I am sorry. I do need to run. I appreciate this so much. but I'm going to listen more, and we're going to pimp your wares. So,
Nice.
ready for it.
Sounds awesome. All right, then, Trey. Well, we do appreciate you stopping by the Shooting Womp Rats high-tech Star Wars Lucas Land Studios. Thank you so much for being here.
Heck yeah. Watch out for those stormtroopers.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It's always great having a guy like Trey on. Don, it's time for the news.
It's time for the news. All right, everybody, because it is the summertime and you guys are getting Shooting Womp Rats a little less often, you get a double dose again this week. So starting off with Adventure Seed Monday, number 44. The mission type will be a sabotage of some type, whether they're performing it or trying to stop it or whatever. The mission terrain is going to be some type of hostile terrain. Think like, out of control jungle, maybe like a nuclear detonation or something like that. Hostile environment.
Lava.
Yeah, lava.
Awesome.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, I think Anakin can speak to that one. Lava sucks. But anyways, mission complication is going to be a distress call. The mission opposition is going to be scout troopers and the special hazard. There isn't one. Let's see. Moving on. Adventure Seed Monday, number 45. The mission is to infiltrate an Imperial garrison. The mission terrain is high gravity. The complication is a stellar anomaly of some type, a la Star Trek. Mission opposition is going to be an artificial intelligence. You could put droids in there if you wanted. The special hazard is none. So no special hazard this week. The only time a special hazard shows up is on a 1 on a D6. So,
Okay.
yeah. So moving ahead, Character Tuesday number 44 is Rommel Neshke. And what's kind of cool about him, he used to be a promising Jedi Knight. He fell out with the Order. Having fallen in love, he found this at odds with the Jedi Code. This led to many arguments over what the Jedi Code meant and how it applied to relationships. This caused a minor schism within the Jedi community, and the Council tried to reconcile with Rommel, but he would not give up his beliefs on relationships. He was kicked or asked to leave the Order shortly after this. Rommel left the Order, pursuing his relationship with the same devotion he once held for the Jedi Order. For a number of years, he made his way through the galaxy with little thought of the Jedi Order, happy to pursue his life. The Order, in turn, gave him little thought as well, since Rommel had shown no inclination to pursue power. Now, during Order 66, his wife and child were killed in an ambush by Galactic Republic commandos. Rommel gave himself over to his anger and pain, killing all of the commandos. He attempted to meet up with other Jedi Knights, but wasn't able to. He decided to go to ground and has lived for many years as a recluse in the jungles of Wantun.
Ooh, that actually would be a good NPC to put into that first random adventure. There's your hostile terrain right there, jungle.
There you go, jungle. I like this character because, I mean, it brings up, there's a lot of meat in it for role-playing as well. What is the Jedi Code? How does the Jedi Order deal with those who reject certain parts of the code?
Mm-hmm.
Do they just kind of let them go let them go, let them leave the Order? Like, say, for example, like someone that was in one of the martial arts schools long time ago, China or whatever, when they decided to leave one school and because they fell out of or didn't believe a certain part of that, were they allowed to leave and not be disturbed? Were they hunted down? Were they watched? There's a lot of things in there I think that people can play with. So anyway, moving on to Character Tuesday 45, Dix Mannon. Now, he is an adventurer. The large fortune his father left for him has allowed him to go about the galaxy with little hindrance by the Galactic Empire. Seemingly, he has or is able to either talk his way or pay his way to smooth things out. Now, Dix is a man of action, and he has a deep respect for the Jedi of the Old Republic. Though not Force-sensitive, he does try to emulate the code, and he tries to help people and to right wrongs. He's quick to offer a helping hand to those in need. He is not blind to what the Galactic Empire is doing, but he does continue to bide his time and empower people to help themselves. Moving on. Rumor Wednesday number 44. Admiral Jairus Runlanian of the Blood Ranger Pirates has a rivalry with an Imperial commander. Supposedly, they used to serve together in the Imperial Navy, and the feud now involves Runlanian's long-term love interest. Dun dun dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
Think WB. That's all I'm saying.
Vampire drama in Star Wars.
Yeah. And it doesn't look like I have, I didn't have, at the time of the script, I didn't have the following week's rumor. So I'm going to go ahead and skip that, go right on to Planet Thursday 44, Gala. There we go. I got it out. Anyway, Gala is a terrestrial planet in a system of 7 planets, having a temperate climate, type 1 atmosphere, a standard gravity, and moderate hydrosphere. This planet would be optimal for colonization and exploitation, except for its location. Located in the outer rim, far from even backwater hyperspace routes, it has probably been forgotten in the Old Republic archives or was never discovered and mapped. Homeworld to the Galdan, the Galdan, Galdan, an aquatic, frog-like amphibian race. The Alliance to restore the Republic set up a rather large base of nearly 3,000 sentients. Having built a standard-class starport, this is an important base for the Alliance. Unique to this planet is that it only has a few actual land masses, and these areas are surrounded by lily pad forests. And in some places, these forests, they build up and make like islands, and it's kind of like squishy underneath. And basically, the unique vegetation grows on Gala. It's believed that it's supposed to have similar properties as Bacta. And basically what happened, or is happening, is Alliance scientists are trying to find a way to take advantage of this and produce it so that the Alliance doesn't have as much of a need for Bacta, which is heavily monitored and controlled by the Galactic Empire.
Makes it a good, you could have an adventure there involving Imperials discovering the planet.
You could. I do kind of like the idea that there's sort of a large base there, and there's some scientific stuff going on. There's there's an aquatic races, which is always kind of cool. There's not a lot of aquatic stuff going on in Star Wars.
Oh, I just came up with an idea for an adventure. Have your players be research subjects.
There you go. Or make them be the frog people.
Yes.
There you go. All right, last one, and then we move on to the Ronto Buffet. Planet Thursday number 45 is Arendt. This is a hot terrestrial planet with a breathable atmosphere, moderate gravity, and is roughly 60% water covered. It has one moon, and it has a very large elliptical orbit that 1 month out of the year moves so close to Arendt that it changes the ocean currents and disrupts most land communication. Now, the planet has suffered several planetary catastrophes throughout its history, probably one of the reasons the tech level never moved past feudal. Now, there is some historical evidence that the Arenites could not have possibly developed on the planet, but are actually a lost colony from the early days of the Galactic Republic. It's home to 7 million inhabitants. The Arenites are a near-human species. They do have 2 main political entities and several independent satellite entities that own fealty or respect or whatever to one of the other big 2. Now, a system of serfdom is in place with a ruling nobility. The 2 main countries will occasionally go to war with one another, but typically fight proxy wars using their satellite allies. Now, the planet was rediscovered shortly after the Naboo crisis in 29 BBY. The CIS, the Confederate Independent Systems? Yeah, those guys.
Confederacy of Independent Systems.
The South. Anyway, they built built a large starport on the planet at the beginning of the Clone Wars, which is still in use today. Now, the planet was invaded by the Galactic Republic during the height of the Clone Wars, and the Separatists were routed and left. Now, since the rise of the Empire, the planet has received no funds to rebuild and has once again been forgotten by the galactic community. So anyway, I thought there were a couple of pretty cool planets that week.
Character of the Week will be coming back next episode. And a little bit of news. I don't know if have I announced this yet, Don, that Asylum finally finished?
Nope. I don't believe so.
I don't think so either. Well, but Asylum, I finally finished it. It took me forever.
Yay! It's got a cool cover that Ty did.
Yeah, Ty Kane did a great job of that.
And somebody did a cool map for you.
Yeah, and then I had this cool guy who provided a planet for me.
I wouldn't know who that was.
Let's go to the buffet.
The buffet. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and start this off. I'm going to talk a little bit about the synergy bonus that I had suggested a couple of episodes ago, which basically at that time said that if there was a complementary skill, you should give a bonus of +1 pip per full die that they have in that supplementary skill. The problem is it doesn't make a whole lot of sense because most of the skills for a player character are going to be in the 3D range. That means they'll automatically get a +3 synergy bonus to anything that they roll. This didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. So what I came up with instead was a table, and it's still pretty easy to work through. Basically what happens is you can have a +1 synergy bonus if the complementary skill is 3D to 4D +2, a +2 if it's 5D to 5D +2, or a +3 if it's 6D or higher. Just a minor kind of fix, but it does make it so that the synergy bonuses, start to make sense, as opposed to having people running around with a +6 synergy bonus. That just didn't make a lot of sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
So, yep, Daniel, I think, is actually the one that might have brought that one up to me. I don't remember.
Yeah, I was, because it sounded a little unbalanced when you first brought it together. I like what you've done with it. And I may not try it this campaign, but the next one definitely.
Awesome. You got a game this Saturday?
Yes, I do have a game this Saturday.
Awesome. Yeah, you probably don't want to drop that one on those guys yet.
Yeah. Keith Kilburn from the G Plus community posted the Mantloian species. They're genetically altered by imperial scientists. They're regarded as little more than semi-sentient animals, kind of like monkeys. Their furry exterior, claws, and long teeth do little to change this opinion. They have excellent sense of sight and smell and have a natural aptitude for climbing, jumping, and noticing things in their immediate environment. They're still very close to their primitive roots, being only one step removed from being feral. They have the unique hindrance as uplifted beings that they are susceptible to certain diseases to which they have a hard time fighting.
I kind of like this one. It sort of reminded me of, David Brin's Uplift trilogy, or I don't know. I've been reading some sci-fi lately.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never heard of that. I wanted to...
Well, and I'm also reading the new James Bond book called Solo, which really isn't that good, so I wouldn't suggest reading it.
Oh, man.
Sorry, it's not very good. Well, anyway, I like these, Keith. I'd really appreciate you taking the time to go ahead and post these, and I would encourage you to keep doing so, because I and Daniel and a couple of other people that are vocal in the community also appreciate them. Last week, or the week before, I did end up posting 14 new TIE Fighter designs. Did you see that?
Yes.
Yeah. There was 7 of them were brand new. That means that nobody has made even home brew stats for them. And the other half, the other 7, have been done by others, but the ones I made are slightly different, and I went more from the Wikipedia entries. And just real quick for people, there's the TIE Interdictor, the TIE Advanced, Aggressor, the Razor, the Assault Interceptor, a Commando Interceptor, a Devastator, the Dagger, the Fire Control, Ground Targeting, Fighter Bomber, the Gunship, the Nemesis Strike Bomber, the Transport, and finally, the Reconnaissance Fighter.
And Don's big book of ships will be coming out any time now.
Nope. We'll see about that. What else we got on the buffet, Bram?
Mike Fraely has been diligently converting some of the Edge of the Empire equipment over to D6. He shared a few with us in the G Plus community and over in the Ranker Pit. He's got the Blastech E11 sniper rifle, a Blastech LBR stun rifle, Field Sports Model 77 air rifle. Oh, wow, BB guns.
He's got all kinds of weapons.
I noticed that. Outside of... And I like the fact anything that comes from Edge of the Empire back over to here, that's a good thing, because murder hobos can stay there. Oh, the people don't like that phrase we use. We gotta stop doing that.
Oh, poopy. It's our show. They can bait us.
The Beast Collar, I think, by far was the most interesting of the items he converted.
I agree. There's a couple of... I don't mean to interrupt you, but I also like the climb suit, the Mountaineer armor, the crash suit, those kind of things.
The burning gel, it brought up some good discussion, too.
Yeah, we'll cover that later in the podcast. Is fire considered energy, or is it considered physical? Mm-hmm.
Well, you made some changes to the Shistavanen.
I did. In fact, I shared those with you because you've got one in your Saturday group.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, all I did was I kind of changed up the attributes a little bit, but I did add a couple of things to their special abilities, and we'll go ahead and have a link for that up on the podcast webpage. But basically, what I added in was that they have what's called hunters, or under their special abilities, it's called hunters, and they're excellent hunters and can track prey through crowd, urban streets, and desolate plains alike, requiring an easy knowledge roll to memorize a scent. An easy search an easy search task difficulty modified by range and conditions. On top of it, they also have another special ability called Fast Healers, and basically the time before making a natural healing roll is 1/3 the normal amount of time. So for those who are interested, you refer to the revised expanded page 98 for that. The last thing that I added to them was a story factor called Isolationists. As a species, they do not encourage others or outsiders to involve themselves in their affairs. They are not apologetic in favoring their own kind in this, as well as trade. So they're kind of like Bothans, only a little bit more insular. Again, role-playing fodder.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty much what I did. And I think you applied this to one of your characters who was playing Saturday.
Yeah.
And this is a person that actually has some experience role-playing Star Wars, or was it someone else?
No, he's actually been in a campaign of mine before.
Did he have any comments about the changes?
No.
No. Okay.
I think he's just accepting them
Here you
because
go.
the GM said, "Take it."
Wow, such a bully. You're a table bully. Well, I tell you what, one other thing that posted this week was I made a foray into railguns. Someone had asked for some stats for them on the Ranker Pit, so I went ahead and tried it. And what I came up with was the Van Desch MMR 50 railgun rifle and the MMR 64R railgun shotgun. Mm-hmm. And basically the weapons have a very loud report, which means they have a very large bang, but not until after the bullet hits because it's moving so fast. It also works in any environment, including underwater. The only thing that may affect it would be strong magnetic lines, because that's what it's using to propel that bullet. So that's about it. And we'll go ahead and make sure that we have a link for that. I'm not going to go through all the stats on that. But if you have an interest in taking a look at railguns for your characters, take a look at those. Let us know what you think.
One thing to notice about these railguns that he developed, he calls them the Van Desch. Well, a little something that he's not letting us know about in this is the fact that, well, that's a mixture of names of characters that he's played.
Well,
I caught it. See, I found the Easter egg.
The Easter egg. I do throw those in occasionally.
I win the prize.
That's right, Daniel. You get a Jelly Belly.
It is time for the Way of the Force. This is the part of the show where we have a discussion with the GMs.
Mm-hmm. You have been wanting this one for a while, Daniel. Do you want to take the reins? I'll tell you what. I'll pitch it, and you hit it, all right?
Do it.
All right. Daniel came up with this idea, and it's unfortunate that Mike is not here today because he runs a D6 game with his kids. But basically, Daniel wants to discuss raising up kids, or GMs, referring to this as GM 101.
Don, there are two different types of GMs. Here's the original GM, and there's the pre-made GM. And now both of these GMs, they have different advantages and disadvantages. A pre-made usually uses pre-written material, and an original will throw together their own material. Now, most GMs start off as a pre-made GM, because, that's usually the only way to cut your teeth into the system is to grab a hold of an adventure already made, whether it be something from West End or from one of us, etc., etc. They graduate after experience into original GMs because, as most people realize, a pre-made adventure, that'll only get you so far. A pre-made GM has everything they need right in front of them, set to go for the adventure. They've got location, they've got pre-made or pre-generated characters, they've got maps, the whole 9 yards wrapped into one bundle in front of them. An original GM may miss things during prep work. We're human. We're not perfect. Don?
Speak for yourself.
Things happen. And an original GM has to have a great ability to play things off the cuff. I challenge myself as a GM in that manner by when I do cons. I don't go there with an adventure in mind a lot of times. These past few, I've actually been using one of Peter Schweiger's adventures, but one of the first times I ran an adventure at a con, it wasn't even an adventure. I had no prep whatsoever. I came up with a single premise of them, all the players being in a cantina. It's a trope. It's cliche, I know, but I went with it. And these players picked templates from all across the board, and I had to figure out a way to get them all to adventure together before everything ended. You know, it's a great test of your, what's the word I'm going for here? Improv ability. It's a great test of your improv ability to be able to take something as diverse as that and come up with a story idea just off the top of your head. I'm not saying everybody can do it. What I'm saying is that it's possible, and that you take your time as a pre-made GM, and you can even start with baby steps. Being a pre-made GM, you play a few pre-made adventures, but during each time you play an adventure, you learn something new. You've got something you can use here, and you can put it something from Adventure A, and you can put it in Adventure B, or you can take it from Adventure A and put it into something of your own creation. Let's take something like I don't know how long ago it was, but we talked about Battle for the Golden Sun. Okay, underwater adventure. Nobody really does these.
Nope.
It's a great opportunity for a pre-made GM to play through the adventure, look at it, and take certain, whether it's NPCs, environments, or events, and throw them into something else.
Absolutely, I'm with you. You know, going back to the whole GMs getting started sort of thing, you know, I do remember my first role-playing game ever was basic Dungeons & Dragons, the red book. Actually, I had the yellow and I had the blue book. Then I got a red book later. But in the original box set that you got, it came with, I think it was Adventure into the Unknown or The Village of Hamlet. It was one of those two. But the one that always stuck in my memory was the Caves of Chaos adventure. Do you remember that, or did you ever look at it?
Caves of Chaos. I don't think I remember that one.
Okay. It has probably one of the absolute best introductory adventures in it. It gives the players a base of operations. It gives a keep... Oh, I'm sorry, it was Keep on the Borderlands? Yeah, that's what it was. Keep on the Borderlands,
okay.
Which had the Caves of Chaos in it. So Keep on the Borderlands, so it had a keep, it had an area of operation, it had some interesting NPCs going on around there. Then it had some wilderness stuff involved. And then it had the Caves of Chaos, which was a whole bunch of these caves, some of them connected, some not. Not. And there were... I can't remember how many hours upon hours we played in that, but I always looked at that as kind of being the model that, you know, GMs could cut their teeth on, like you were saying, the pre-made GM. And West End Games actually had a really good box set that kind of fills that niche, if you will, called the Star Wars Introductory... What was it? Introductory box? Introductory game? I can't remember. It's some introductory game box. Unfortunately, I think it's only first edition. It's definitely not second, I don't believe. But, you know, there's not that much of a difference to, you know, make some changes. But anyhow, for those that are looking to get into doing GM, the pre-made GM, as opposed to making your own, definitely check that out.
Mm-hmm. Another thing is story. Just like you hear in the real estate business, is location. Story with Star Wars. Original GMs, they've got to weave together a story that captures the players and puts them in the galaxy far, far away. Pre-mades have to work on narration of the material to provide for a good game experience because they've already got the story. It's handed to them. And here, you know, that's why the original GMs have a challenge at their hands. They've got a vision in their head. They've got to be able to put it together, make the mechanics mesh with it, and make it playable.
Yep. And I guess, for my suggestion for people, like Daniel's saying, go the pre-made, the GM pre-made route first, and then start writing your own adventures. But when it comes to actually doing your adventures, your very own, the first thing I would suggest, and I'm not telling anybody how to go about it, I'm just making suggestions here, is first of all, make one-shots. The other thing is to make like one-session adventures. They don't have to be very involved. They don't have to be earth-shaking and, galaxy-wide. It doesn't have to be a Death Star quality, bad guy in every single adventure. And just work your way up from there. And as you gain more experience, you become more competent, you get a little more intricate in your plots and stuff like that. And again, always, and I can't say this enough, take a look at the GM Handbook. It is a great book for helping it. There you go, Daniel. All right, guys, well, I tell you what, we're going to go ahead and move towards the part that I really like, Movie of the Week. Daniel, do you got one?
What have I seen lately that would really get attention?
I saw How to Train Your Dragon 2 this last weekend. I went back to an old movie called Boot Hill, and this is what is referred to as an acid western. It was released in 1969, and the basic idea of the movie is that Honey Fisher has become a powerful man in a very small western town that has grown up around gold prospecting fields. Fisher and his gang have managed through swindling, murder, and terror to gain leases on the important gold-yielding land in the area. Now, a state commissioner comes to town to review the leases, which are crucial to Fisher's power. Cat Stevens and Hutch Bessie join forces with a group of circus performers and the townsfolk led by Stevens' friend Finch to fight against Fisher and his henchmen. I think it has all the elements you need for a Star Wars adventure right there.
That's one I really have not watched. I should really sit down and do that one of these days.
It's pretty dated. I mean, it's the photography is, and like I said, it's an acid western, so it's one of those kind of things where there's a lot of imagery in it and a lot of camera shots and use of sound and stuff like that is sort of like artsy-fartsy kind of... It's like listening to Jefferson Airplane. You know what I'm saying? I mean, no, seriously. I mean, you got acid rock, you got regular rock. There's certain elements that are, part of what's called the acid rock genre. Same thing with what is referred to as the acid western.
I did get my movie.
What was your movie?
It was the first Hobbit movie.
Unexpected Journey.
Yeah, Unexpected Journey. Thank you. And I think that would make for a high action type of adventure. Your players are part of a group assigned by the rebellion to assist a group of indigents on the planet to regain their capital city.
Oh, I like it. So are they Force users? There you go. They're trying to get back an old Force temple?
Depending upon era. If it's Clone Wars, yeah. Rise of the Jedi, definitely. If it's Rebellion era, I would say it's something maybe religious might work there.
Well, another thing is, also keep in mind that your protagonist doesn't always have to be the Empire.
That's true, too.
It could be somebody else. It could be Dark Sun. It could be Hutts. It could be pirates. It could be another planet or another planet in the same system. It could be another government. A lot of different things it could be. I don't know. I like it.
So, anybody who has any ideas for movies of the week or submissions, as a matter of fact, I don't want to go into detail about a recent email that I've received because I'm afraid that they may not want the publicity too quick. I'm waiting on an official comment.
All he's got to say about it is it's cool.
Yes, there is something in the works that I think all of our listeners and any SWD6 fan would be interested in. So please keep a listen out. We will update you as I get information.
Rock on.
So you get in touch with us. You get a Twitter at SWD6 Podcast. You email us at shootingwomprats@gmail.com. And, of course, Don and I can be found on Google+, and on the Ranker Pit, we are Shooting Womp Rats.
shooting Womp Rats. It's what we do.
So bad shooting Womp Rats. I'm Daniel.
I'm done.
May the force be with you.
Have a great weekend, guys. Be good.